Forget the local Sunday bunch ride, I'm taking you to a place where speed and suffering are mandatory, the Lansdowne Park Criterium. Out the gate, this race started hotter than a Sydney summer. We were averaging 4 km per hour faster than my last race here. The first few laps were pure carnage, hovering around the 40 km per hour mark. The pack was shattering. Halfway through, the decisive move happened. A 5-man breakaway got clear, and I was in it. In the break, it was smooth and controlled. You'd think it wasn't a race. We were rolling turns, chopping off with the boys. Our first full lap was around the 45 km per hour mark, chewing up that 2 km circuit in just under 2 minutes and 42 seconds. It was utter carnage, and I loved it. The Penrith rider, Daniel, and I did the heavy lifting, but the key, my Garmin was on the lap screen. No watts, no heart rate. I was racing purely by feel. It was perfect. We held that gap. We pushed the pace, we burnt every last match we had. The gap was solid, but with 1 lap to go, those 5 men had been whittled down to just 3. We took the final corner. That's when Daniel, the Penrith rider, launched his attack. With the finish line only 500 metres away, after all that work, it was coming down to a desperate 3-man sprint finish. All that suffering, all that speed, did the race by feel pay off, or did I simply blow up in the final 50 metres? So we're just doing some warm-up laps right now. So last time when I rode it, it was B grade, so there's a little bit of room for improvement. So many hitters in A today, so my legs definitely wouldn't have coped because yesterday we did CPCC race pace and I'm a bit buggered. Wasn't even gonna race. I rode out here with the guys and I was like, oh yeah, I'll come out, I'll support you, be your chauffeur on the way out. You can sit in business class. Getting out here, I found out the club was looking after entry costs, so I thought, fuck it, why not? It's not a very long course, undulating, a few little hills, but nothing too major. Gonna be a bit more strategic today. Last time, definitely did too much work on the front and regretted it at the end. Didn't have the legs for the sprint. Let's see if some tactics can be put into the race and see how we go. How you feeling, Mick? Out of 10?
6, still cooked.
Tilly, out of 10?
Mate, I don't know if I need to shit or fart.
I need to shit and I need to fart. It's gonna be
touch and go all right, I reckon.
It's because we had that coffee.
Yeah.
We had a coffee on our way out here at a little servo, and now we could shit ourselves on this race.
Make sure you turn it off before you start the race.
Yeah, I'll turn it on this time before I start the race, yeah? Yellow socks, but no shaved legs.
There's the benefit up here.
Yeah, okay, we'll do a drink at A grade.
Look at drop line. No one, go.
Alright, and welcome back to another crit race. I actually did a video on this Lansdowne crit a few weeks ago, and there was a few comments mentioning they would like a kilometer reader, so I've added one in on the side. So you can see at the moment we are 3.2 kilometers into this race. The race is a 2 kilometer circuit out at Lansdowne Park in Sydney's southwest. It's a bit of an undulating course and there's a few little pinches, but nothing really too major. As you can see right now, we're sitting with the pack and it is quite a big pack in B grade. I did notice that this week was also a lot harder than the week I did previously. I found that out the gates, the pace was a lot higher and I was pushing way more watts earlier on in this race. Right now I'm sitting behind Tilly, and Tilly, Michael and I rode out together to Lansdowne. And on my way out, I was actually saying to them, I'm a bit sore, I'm not going to race. And then when I found out that the club, CPCC, was actually giving free tickets to the race, I thought, what have I got to lose? I'll just have a crack. And the impulse decision actually worked out in my favor, as this turned out to be one of the best races I've had to date. Mentioning earlier, there were some pinches. This is one of the little pinches, which is only really a 3 or 2%er. And you do have to put out some bigger watts if you're a heavier guy. I weigh 90 kilos, so 600 watts is probably what I got to do to stay with the punch up that little pincher. Right now I saw that some people were dropping the wheel of the guys in front of them, so I thought I'd do a little squirt to get up and into the main pack at the front. Didn't really want to lose the front group because I could see them kind of breaking away, and if they got away at Lansdowne, when someone is out of your sight, it is almost game over. Now, I don't know if you can actually see here, but Daniel is out in front. So there's a guy lingering probably 100 meters, 150 meters ahead here. So I thought, I'm going to do a squirt and I'm going to get to the front, because if he's going to break away, I want to be with him. I looked at this guy early on the race. I saw big aero socks and the race kit, and I went, Daniel's not playing games today. He's going to be a good wheel to sit on. So when I saw him launch an attack, I knew I had to chase. I got off the front here, and I do actually catch up to Daniel's wheel, and no one was on my wheel, so it was just Daniel and I off the front. I asked Daniel if he had some beans, and then we were on our way.
You got beans?
Sometimes.
Daniel responded sometimes, so I thought, let's just give it a crack, and we'll roll some turns for a few laps and see if we can get away. Considering it's pretty early on in the race though, probably not the wisest move. Two-man breakaway probably isn't going to stick when there's about 40 riders behind you chasing you down. So Daniel looked over his shoulder and he could see that the group wasn't actually too far behind, probably about 50 to 100 meters. So we thought, let's just sit up and we'll let them catch back on, and then we can recover in the group. Daniel and I introduced ourselves to each other, and I knew he would be a good asset later on in this ride if we wanted to try and make another breakaway stick. This race was honestly like a game of cat and mouse. You can actually see that there are some riders off the front, and I was sitting back in the group quite a bit, so I didn't have the chance to jump over and latch onto one of their wheels. However, I had to do the hard work in reeling them in and closing the gap. I do manage to close the gap, and this guy was out the front for a little bit, but he didn't last long. Once I bridged over to this bloke, I did notice that he had another teammate that was slightly off in front of him. However, this guy obviously didn't want to bridge the gap to his teammate, so again, I had to do the hard yards. No one was rolling through here, and I didn't want to let this guy get away. Once I actually do bridge the gap, I decided to swing out hard to the right because I didn't want this rider to sit on my wheel and be able to recover in the group. I wanted him to suffer, and I wanted to get past him without him retrailing onto our group. Now this is where the race got really interesting. That was obviously just the preem lap, and a few guys went off the front here to try and win the preem lap, Daniel being one of them. I thought this is the perfect opportunity for us to form a breakaway. I knew Daniel was here, and I knew there were a few other guys around me who were quite strong too. So I said to them, we're about 100 meters in front, let's go for it and see if we can make it stick. Everyone seemed pretty keen, and we all worked really well together through these first few laps, and we were really pushing the pace, trying to stay away from the rest of the group. We do actually manage to make it stick, and the breakaway held to the very end of the race. So there was about 4 or 5 of us that were rolling turns for the rest of the race, which was an awesome outcome, and you're going to see it play out. Honestly, this was utter carnage, and I loved it. It was probably my favorite race I've ever done, because it was just so smooth and controlled, and we worked well together. I wasn't looking at my data, I had my lap screen up, so I didn't know the watts I was pushing or the heart rate I had, and that worked really well for me. I was racing purely off feel, and my legs obviously coming into this did not feel amazing, but they really warmed up and opened up through this race, and I felt great. Looking back on this, I kind of got stitched up here because this rider technically should have rolled over a bit so I could have sat on his wheel. However, I pretty much got boxed out, and then Jack came through here as a second wheel and he himself didn't let me in either. And then we had another CPCC racer come through on the third wheel and again wouldn't let me in. Now I could be wrong, but my understanding is the etiquette here is the rider at the front typically should roll over the rider who's just done a turn to let them sit in and recover their legs, especially if they're doing a lot of work on the group. I also found that in this breakaway, I would say mainly 3 of us were working. Yes, some others did pop out at times, but if you're in a breakaway, you should all be working together because you're trying your best to stay away from the group behind us. And we had a sizable gap here, and if you're in the breakaway, you technically all have to work together to stay away. So I managed to find myself on the front for an entire lap here until Jack rolls through just as we come over that crest. Now it actually wasn't too bad. My heart rate's only up around 158, so I was pushing watts, but my heart was fine and my legs were actually feeling really good. We are coming into the final few laps here as well, so maybe the guys behind me were trying to save their biscuits for the last sprint or for the final laps, hence having me sit on the front for an entire lap. I also just want to say we are trying to close in on 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we're currently sitting at 9,150. So from my last video, there was a sizable jump, and a lot of you had been watching but not subscribed. So if you're watching the videos and you're enjoying the content, it would honestly mean the world if you could subscribe. And thanks again for all the support, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this race. Again, I've pretty much rolled another full lap, and Daniel came past and said, "What are we doing? Are we all sprinting for the finish, or are we letting one of us have it?" One of the guys in the group said, "No, I'm not letting anyone have it." So Daniel went, "All right, screw that," and basically put the pedal to the metal, coming out of that corner and launched an attack really early on from the line, trying to break the group up. I managed to get onto his wheel, although it was not easy. I'm pushing around 700 watts, sitting on his wheel, and he was really hustling for the line. We're about 500 meters from the line at this point, and he's looking over his shoulder to see if there is a split in the group. Daniel pretty much tows me into the line here, and I sit on his wheel the whole way down the straight, pretty much getting a free draft into the final finish line where I pop out and do a little sprint. Now I had nothing left in the legs to get out anything over 1,000 watts, so 900 watts was the best I could do, and it probably wasn't even the best because my cadence was quite low for a sprint. Should have been up around 120.
Absolutely solid race. 5-man breakaway, whole race, hectic. Daniel, you're an absolute weapon if you're watching this. Bloke down there. Jack did some solid pulls too. I don't know, me and Daniel at the line, pretty fucking close to be honest. Good pulls, mate, thank you. We all worked very hard. Good shit, dude. Felt so good today. Been a bit sick this week. Daniel did a little squirt early on in the race, chased that, and I knew he was a good wheel to sit on for the rest of the race. And then we went again, both him and I. A few people followed. Good breakaway for probably 40 minutes of the race. Solid 40-minute chop off basically. Awesome. Couldn't be happier with the result. Hey, I don't know if I got first or if I got second, but fucking neck and neck.
We got the win. Let's go.
Did you get it? For a non-race.
Let's go.
Oh, that's good.
Not meant to race gets the win. Sorry. Left it hanging. Now you're leaving me hanging.
What up, Max? Second place, Daniel Lopez. Well done, Daniel. Nice riding and a tremendous breakaway in B grade. Thomas David in third. Mario Gonzalez fourth, and Jack, I think it's Winshaw. Sorry, Jack, if I...
The mullet, mate. I think it was flowing in the race. We just stopped at AP Bakery. We're getting a saucy roll. What are we doing?
Oh,
Saucy roll or no saucy roll?
100% saucy roll, bro.
Fully baked, eh? Baked goods. It's literally how I feel. Fully baked.
This what made them think.
Alright, so we had our park up at AP Bakery. Little saucy roll, I'd say sausage roll rating out of 10. It's a bit too hot. I could have just come out of the oven. Bit of a burnt tongue. Probably give it a 5 out of 10. Taste, 7, but staying together and heat-wise, 5. Not ideal. Had 3 coffees today, 2 from the servo, 1 from AP Bakery. So my guts are about to explode onto this bike.
I'm absolutely wrecked, eh? Oof. Sweat's dripping off my face. Solid crew out there today. When the prim came along, I saw some guys attack and went for the prim. They had quite a distance ahead, so I jumped across to them. And then when I got across, I said, you know, let's go. We've got a gap to the group behind. Coming into the last maybe kilometre, Daniel was like full gas, and I was like, oh God, he's going to get away from me here. So really dug to stay on his wheel, but first and third from Centennial Park, and then Daniel got second. So shout out to Daniel, because it's great racing with you, mate. Great rolling turns. Bit of an problem shoot video though. I wasn't really planning to do a video. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed the racing, and I hope you liked watching me get my first podium in B grade. I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Ciao.